hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Great leaders are very, very rare. You need to practice every single day how to become a better leader. You don't lose, you learn. You need to have a continuous improvement mindset, and you need to be able to look at failures in life and how you turn them around and turn them into a positive. One of the things is you don't know what people or what is possible to be accomplished if you don't give them an opportunity.
Welcome to the Critical Few Actions to Improve Your Business podcast. I'm John Downs, and I'm here to help you cut through the overwhelm and prioritise what matters most to improve your business. Let's get started and discover the critical few actions that have the biggest impact. I'd like you to meet the leader, Tim Cartwright, General Manager of Fresh Foods at Drake Supermarkets. This is Australia's leading independent supermarket retailer with over 5,500 employees in over 56 sites in South Australia and Queensland. Tim, welcome.
Good to be here, John.
So, Tim, how did you get to your current leadership position?
To break it down, overall, leading is something that I wanted to do from a very young age, and that came from my sporting background. Played all sports, all the Aussie sports, plus other sports as well, individual sports, team sports, and then I got into martial arts, and that's when I really found, a love for leadership and a love for learning. So where I got to today is based on, I started off as a 15-year-old at Bilo Supermarkets and worked my way through up into management roles until I was about 18. And from there, I felt, I need to get a trade behind me. So I had a look at an electrician's apprenticeship, and I must have performed, relatively well. So the management at Bilo asked me to, stay if possible. And if it was an apprenticeship I was looking for, they had a butcher's apprenticeship available. So I took the path and became a butcher. And it was something that within a very short amount of time, I was starting to lead meat teams. And then we transformed from Bilo across to Coles Supermarkets and worked in a lot of training sort of roles there. And it was about 15 years into my career, and I took a step into a more senior role with a company called Metcash, who looks after Foodland and the IGA supermarkets. My role there was state manager for South Australia and Northern Territory for fresh foods. So meat, seafood, deli, bakery, produce. And I ran operational teams, merchandising teams. And as a wholesaler and as a marketing agency, I really had to work strongly, building rapport, building trust with retailers they were my customers. That was who I was dealing with. So I learned a lot in those 7.5 years. I was privileged enough to work all around Australia for that company. And then 7 years ago, Roger requested a bit of a catch up, and 2 months later, I came across to Drake's as their general manager, looking after fresh foods, and haven't looked back since. We've got nearly 5,500 team members at Drake's. A very large portion of them work in the fresh food departments, work in our fresh food distribution centres and warehouses and processing facilities. And now, I lead a team which is, just over 3,000 strong. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. And the leadership piece, like I said, was, something I've always had a passion for. Became very passionate, not just about supermarkets, but about where food comes from. Provenance and transparency around food. So I'm actually, working in a job that I love. It is something I'm extremely passionate about.
And so who were your early influences in leadership, Tim?
Yeah, look, that is a really good question, because when I look back at leaders in my career, they were unfortunately leaders that lacked leading qualities. And what I do take out of that, and I actually thank them for this, I looked at all the traits that I didn't like about the way that they managed or led a team. And a lot of it was based on authoritarian mindset. A lot of it was about, okay, I'm going to rule by fear. And so I took that, and with my martial arts, I have a background in martial arts and actually competitive fighting, and have had the privilege of coaching, thousands of different people from all different walks of life. And so I actually looked elsewhere for my leadership and my aspiration for leadership. And a lot of that came out of sport. And a lot of that came out of, some of the great coaches and some of the great competitors around the world. And there was a book that I was reading at the time for martial arts called Art of War. And, Sun Tzu, 2,500 years ago, wrote this book, which is just so relevant to this day and age. And there was a piece in there which I used for my coaching. And it was about, treating your soldiers as if they're your beloved sons and daughters, and they'll follow you into the deepest valleys. And that statement there rang true to me up until today. And it was all about, okay, these leaders that I'm working under, or managers I'm working under, they rule by fear. So I noticed that they were not getting the best out of their team members. They definitely weren't getting the best out of myself. So what I worked on is, okay, I'm going to make sure that one day I'm leading a large team and I treat them totally different. So there was a couple of people through my journey, one of them in particular, he actually employed me at Metcash, and he actually had a very different mindset. He was a martial artist, and he did support me through my journey, through, the trials and tribulations. He didn't look at if we made a mistake. He didn't look at that and want to pound and say, right, you've done the wrong thing. We looked at it and said, right, how do we fix it? Where do we go? And that was one thing that I picked up was, I'm on the right track here, being supportive, getting the trust from the team. So for me, I was looking at all the leaders around me and looking at all their flaws, and for me, developing ways of making sure I didn't fall into that trap. I didn't go down that cultural route, because they didn't know any better. They were ruled by fear in their days, and that is why now I've changed. And one thing I do know, great leaders are very, very rare, and you need to practice every single day how to become a better leader and how you can inspire your team and how you can look after your team. So that's kind of where I've come in my way of looking at leaders.
And when you reflect, Tim, what are those critical few attributes of a good leader?
Yeah, look, passion. Without passion, you don't have anything, and being very proactive. So you've got to lead by example, and number one is being very proactive and very passionate about what you do. Going through, you need to be able to delegate, and you cannot do everything yourself. You need to delegate. And when you delegate, you need to effectively delegate to your team. You need to ensure that, you have their trust. And leading by example is the best way to get that trust. You need to be respected, and by leading by example. One of the things out of this here is, there's a comment I use. I use it for the people I teach. I use it for my kids, and I even use it for my staff. And it is, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And it is so true. I've worked with and met a lot of really talented people over my time. Unfortunately, they've never reached their full potential because they haven't worked hard. So making sure I set that example for my team, make sure I get in there. I'm always the one that they look up to and aspire to be like. And that takes passion. You need to have that passion to do that. So there are a couple of the key things for myself that I think really makes a good leader. But definitely making the team feel safe, secure and trusted. Making sure we look at all problems proactively. We don't get bogged down in the negativity is really, really important. If you have the ability to do that, you'll find that you'll have much more decisive team members, that will make decisions. And you know what? Sometimes you get things wrong. That's okay. And it's the way we manage through the losses. It's a real simple thing, like I tell all my fighters as well as I do tell all my staff. You don't lose, you learn. And it's true. You don't lose, you learn. You need to have a continuous improvement mindset, and you need to be able to look at things where you've had failures in life and how you turn them around and turn them into a positive. So that's pretty much where I come from on some of the traits that really make a good leader.
Tim, you talk about how you've got to be able to delegate. I see that one of the key challenges as they migrate through their supervisor, manager, leader journey is that you have to be able to delegate well. What do you see as the key factors in effective delegation?
Yeah, look, definitely having the strategy in place, and when we go through the delegation process, clearly articulating what the goal is with the team member, setting the strategy, setting the structure for what they need to accomplish, and then giving, each person reacts differently and each person needs to be managed differently. We take the comment, treat people like you want to be treated. Well, that's a nice place to start, but actually treating people like they want to be treated is the next step, and that is what does actually make a great leader. So working on those people and knowing how they perform at their best, and then from there, letting them go and keeping them on track, catching up with them, being there for assistance, being there for guidance. And then once they have delivered on that goal or that objective of what has been delegated, making sure that we're checking in and then going back to it and continually improving what we've done. One of the things is you don't know what people are possible or what is possible to be accomplished if you don't give them an opportunity. And as long as you give them the right communication, the right goal, and the right piece of information, and follow them through their journey, check in on them when they need, it's amazing what some people are very capable of. You will not, especially when you grow at scale, you need to ensure that there's good structure, there's good strategy, practices and processes in place. That is really critical. But making sure that this year happens at scale is so important. You cannot do everything on your own. When you're a startup and you're the CEO and it's just you, absolutely, you have to do everything. As you get bigger, you cannot do everything. You need to surround yourself with good people, and you need to be able to ensure that you lead by example with them, but actually give them the trust, make them accountable. People want to be held accountable. People like to be held accountable. And, if they don't get it right, we go back, we work on it and make sure that, next time we get better at it. So yeah, delegation is so critical, especially at a high level.
Exactly. Tim, I've heard that one of the ways to assess a good manager is by the people that they promote and put forward as future leaders. Tim, what are you looking for in your next wave of managers? What are you looking for in the junior burger who's looking to step up, even if they're not sure that they're ready to step up?
Look, I really find EQ over IQ. I can teach and I can train and I can educate. But what is really hard is having the people with the passion, the right behaviours. So that is what we look for, especially when I'm creating roles or looking to recruit for senior management positions. They need to have the right behaviours. They need to have the passion. They need to have that proactive, continuous improvement mindset. That is what we're looking for. From there, we can teach those people anything. We can put them into training courses. We can work on one-on-ones to get them to where they need to be. That is where we're looking at, and making sure that they fit in the team. Building that team, a high-performing team, takes time. We talk about treating your people well enough that they can leave. Teaching your people or educating your people well enough that they can leave, but treating them so they want to stay. And that is so important. For us at Drake's, our employees are our number one asset. They come first over everything. And making sure that they are educated, trained, making sure that they are, felt to feel safe and secure is really important to us. They're the people that actually deal with our customers. And if they can't do that job right, if they're fearful of what their superiors think, that does not lead to good customer experiences. It does not lead to good employee experiences. So for us, making sure we look after our people, it is the number one thing that we do here at Drake's, is look after our people.
If you really want to kick off your strategic planning and work in a supportive environment with other CEOs and leaders, the CEO Masterclass in Strategic Planning and Implementation is for you. This 10-month small group course helps you craft your strategic plan, present it to a group of peer investors, and develop a habit of monthly implementation. Our waitlist is open now at CriticalFewActions.com.au. Excellent, thank you. Tim, you're walking around and every day you're on display in your organisation. What are the key practices that you like to model for your team as a way to help them to step up?
Yeah. Look, I need to be approachable. That is probably the biggest thing that I did learn from a lot of those poor leaders, is they weren't approachable. Being approachable is critical, and accessible as well. Knowing that anyone, whether it's a direct report, indirect report from another pillar, can come to me at any time and they feel safe to ask me questions, ask for advice. So being approachable is number one. One of the key things I speak to my team about is the top three. And the top three are the top three things that they're focused on that week, that month, that year. And ensuring that they do their best to spend 50% of their time on those top three. And at the end of the week, they actually go back and have a look. Did I spend 50% of my time on those top three things? For myself, that's exactly what I do. I look at three things: business model, operations, and talent environment. And I ensure that at the end of each week, did I spend 50% of my time on that? And was that time, spent on, is it accelerated learning that we need? Whether it's a project that we're working on, whether it's the day-to-day running of the business, but ensuring that the top three, 50% of the time is spent on the top three. And that's something that I really work hard on with the team. We sit down, we look at their top three. Is it the right top three for our business? Is it in line with our strategic goals and our strategic plans? So there are a couple of things that we definitely work on, and treating the team members as if, like I said, they're your beloved sons or daughters is so important. Making sure that they are accessible as well, making sure that they are approachable. These are some of the key things that we work on. This is what determines culture of a business. It does come from the top down. And if you rule from authority, if you rule out of fear, you'll never have, some of the best cultures that go around. So for me, it's one of those things, and getting that culture right starts from that leading from example.
Super. And Tim, for any manager aspiring to lead, what should they start doing tomorrow?
Yeah, what they should start doing tomorrow, that real simple one. Look after the people under you, look after those people around you, and start to treat people like they want to be treated. That's a really important thing. When you are put in a manager or leadership position, that is not something to look at as, yes, I've accomplished this, I've got the power. It's not that. There's a lot of responsibility. You are put into a position of very high responsibility, and you need to ensure that you give back to those team members. We talk about knocking people down. You knock people down to try and bring yourself up. That doesn't work. The whole idea is to bring those up around you, and by doing that, they will elevate you. So they need to start looking at things. Continuous improvement is so important. Not being scared to fail. I'll go back to my coaching and fighters. Having that ability, it's 80%, 90% of it is in the mind. It is all in the mind, and having the mindset that it's okay, make a decision, go out, and if I fail, it's okay. I'll still be loved by those around me. I'll still be respected by those around me. So that's really important as well. Being able to, make some decisions, and if you get them wrong, it's not the end of the world.
Can you give me an example of a recent experience you've had where you feel you've made a real contribution to how a manager got some real insight into how they could improve their management or leadership style?
Yeah, look, there's many examples, and every day I could bring up an example. I think something that is really recent is what we're working on at the moment is quite a large project for the Drake's organisation, which is the Lean Efficiencies Project. This year was with one of my senior operational team members on a big project that we're working on, the Lean Efficiencies Project. And what we did, we actually sat down and worked through how we can look at our operations at store and our wage structure differently. And there was a lot of, people don't know what they don't know. It's as simple as that. So in my role, it's up to me to ensure that we give people the tools to look at things differently. So we looked at things differently. We took out some emotion. So a lot of decisions we make can involve a lot of emotion. So as a leader, sometimes you need to make some emotionless decisions, then bring in the human element and then make that decision. So we looked at it, without the human element of what was going on and really cut down to process mapping and how we can make things more efficient. And then by just looking outside of the square, the team member was able to look at it, take on board some of these things that they've never actually thought of before, and then they ran with it. And then I find out they've had subsequent meetings from that where they've actually spoken to other team members and peers about what we've spoken about. That there is, for me, something that I get a real kick out of, that I really enjoy, that I've been able to change someone's mindset to a more positive mindset, to look at things differently and actually go to a place where they weren't comfortable working in and have made them comfortable with the uncomfortable. That's just one of many small things that I can talk on many different occasions on people's managing, especially being able to make a decision. And that there came back to empowering them and giving them my trust so they felt trusted, they were capable to make those decisions. And then going back and revisiting those decisions and, were they the right decisions? Well, yeah, at the time they were the right decisions. They were the decisions that we made with all the best information that we had at hand. And, sometimes we don't get it right, but then not coming down hard on them and looking, okay, how can we make that decision better next time? How can we make a better game plan for that? So, yeah, when I go back to the teams that I lead and then the sporting people that I coach, it always goes back to basic fundamentals. And basic fundamentals and practicing those basic fundamentals every day is so important. I call it the never-ending pursuit to perfection, because perfection is an ideal. It's not real. So how do we get to that? And there is a quote from Bruce Lee: "I fear not the man that has practiced 1,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 1,000 times." And I take from that, it's all about the basic fundamentals and doing your best to perfect the basic fundamentals. That there will get you everywhere. So in the coaching that I do, we review all of the basics, whether they're a beginner or whether they're an elite professional athlete. We go over those basics over and over and over again. And from my point of view, continuous improvement and looking at yourself and getting better at what you do every day is so important. That comes back to passion. You have to have passion about what you do. You have to have passion about life. You have to have passion to be proactive and not look at the negative, but look at the positive. And every day, look at yourself. What did I achieve today? I am still learning and growing every single day, whether it be at work, whether it be, in my personal life with my family, whether it is as a father teaching, 3 kids. So looking at yourself and getting better every day. The never-ending pursuit for perfection.
Tim, that's terrific. You've delivered a number of real pearls of wisdom around your approach to leadership. EQ over IQ. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Look after the people the way they'd like to be looked after. Be approachable, helping them feel safe and secure. Empowering and giving them my trust that they were safe to make the decisions. The art of and the practice of effective delegation and making sure it's clear what the expectations are. I love that phrase, you don't lose, you learn. Tim, do you have any favourite books, videos, or authors that you've been influenced by that you refer your new, emerging, or seasoned managers to, or even the kids that you're training in the school martial arts programs that you're supporting in your spare time as they become more mature sports people?
Yeah, look, for me, the Art of War by Sun Tzu, I still read that to this day. I listen to it in the car, still quite regularly, just because there's a lot of similarity, whether it's in sport, whether it's in business, and it's you take from those messages and you put it into your own day-to-day life. So definitely that.
Tim, thank you so much for sharing with us today. I really appreciate it.
No worries, John. Really appreciate it. Thank you, mate.
Thanks for listening to the Critical Few Actions podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and grab the downloadables from the show notes. And if you found this episode helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you share it with your peers and your team. Stay focused and take action. The Critical Few Actions podcast, including show notes and links, provides general information only and is not individualised business advice, nor can it be relied upon as such. You must take responsibility for your own advice, decisions, and actions.